Today is May 15th, 2026. Last night on the 14th, I was at work. I could hear some guy outside talking to somebody else. And he said, I found out that an agent that opened her case. Before I talked to her, he did tell that church she was being drugged. He knew she was being drugged, being raped, and didn't care. And I haven't found any of this funny. And he said, I seen what she uploaded. I uploaded an MRI report from 2001. What does it show? Degenerative joint disease in my knees. It also shows a tear in my knee not being able to bend, fluid under my knee, and swelling in my legs. In the other leg, there's swelling and a large cyst. Okay? And degenerative joint disease in that one. And osteoarthritis. You know, one of the pain management treatments, they gave me trigger point injections into the locked muscles. That's why I call these people witch doctors. I get 30 or more shots up in my neck and back. And those locked muscles. In excruciating pain when they did it. That much steroids. Steroids in high doses and that was over a year time every month. And my adrenal gland ended up shut down. I had to live on steroids. And that much steroids can cause arthritis. But where that guy said, I seen what she uploaded with that MRI report of her where she said she was falling all the time. Somebody was saying she was active and said it was a violent enough fall that she tore the muscle beside her knee. It was torn. She literally ripped her the muscle beside her knee. And the fluid, and then that cyst, and the degenerative joint disease. No wonder she couldn't walk. The one even said her knee went bend from the tear. Also tear. I know. He said, and I'm tired of people running around making fun of her. For them, people calling her a faker. And she's got all this proof. Oh, I got one more. See, that's where I suffer through hell. Okay. Today, I called Danny. And one of these people's lies was my kids went in and verified she's a faker. My kids did not act like a fool. And they verified for everyone she was a faker. I called Danny and I said, there's a lot of things I haven't talked to you about. And I said, and it's big and it's bad. And there are so many people involved in this, you would be surprised who was. I said, Ron and Lisa more involved. He said, what on earth would they be involved for? He said, what on earth would they be involved for? He said, and how would you find that out? I said, an FBI agent on a recorded line. I said where they had told me that as soon as I called the hotline, they had this big skit made up. And they walked into an FBI office immediately. Strange them and other church people. And had their stocking tapes with the photoshopping and washing in the other shower. the hypnotic drugs and told to say some idiot pretending to be a dirty doctor breaking HIPAA. And I guess Lisa and Ron were in there saying that it offended them when Strange called me a faker 6 months later. He's like, "You're kidding." I said, "No." I said, "I was talking to that agent, and he said, I've met with that family in my office that lost their kid in that traffic accident." I said, "Recorded line. And all those church people." I said, "Where Strange made that up in 2003 when he took you." I said, "You know why he took you, don't you?" He said, "What?" I said, Tim was cheating with Katie. He had been cheating with Katie for over a year. Linda was out one day, caught them together, didn't say anything. She had my mom follow her, Lori follow him. She was following him. She knows they're cheating. And everybody's like, "Why won't she say something?" Then we thought, well, maybe she just doesn't think she can support herself. She wants to live in an open marriage. It's her own fault. She's a grown woman. These are her choices, not ours. And she knows he's cheating. She's not going to say anything. That's her decision. But to avoid uncomfortable, polite conversation, we'd avoid them. I said, because Linda called up and cry. He said, I would have told her I didn't want to hear her cry. She wasn't going to say something. I said, it was awful. I said, but she wouldn't say anything. But these were her decisions. It wasn't ours. So we stayed out of it. He said, of course you would. I said, Linda can't. I said, Linda was still following me a year later. It's like, why don't you just stay out of it? You know they're cheating. You want to say something, but you don't. And he said, exactly. I said, you don't say anything. And I said, Linda comes up to me at church. I was following him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry, be careful. And runs off. I'm like, great, thanks. I said, that's why Strange took you that Sunday morning and made up that baby lie to get rid of me real quick and discredit me. He had to get rid of me because he thought I was following him and Katie. He said, is that what's going on? I said, here it is 6 months later. I had nothing to do with that wreck. He said, I know you didn't. I said, you know I have degenerative joint disease. I know that. I said, back then, when I said, everybody thought they had me on morphine patches? Yeah. I said, I had a tear in my knee where I fell. He said, I remember that. I said, in the fluid-filled cyst, I remember that. I said, and where they'd have to drain them all the time? I remember that. I said, that's why they had to put braces on because my knees would slide out of place. I remember that. I said, he made up that lie 6 months later because he thought I was following Tim and Katie. I said, Lisa and them already confessed to an FBI agent on March 27th, 25, that they were all lying to the FBI when they went in there. That it didn't even concern them. Lisa's father killed their kid. She wasn't even there. And they were all making it up to help them get away with this. I said, they were trying to extort money out of the FBI. He's like, you're kidding. I said, no. They went in there with their drug confessions, their photoshopping and washing, some idiot supposed to be breaking HIPAA violations with them. And I said, and the way people are talking, it's supposed to be Dad's girlfriend, Michelle, that Dixie knew, her dad, impersonating a doctor. It's that bad. And thought they could get an agent to open up a case and trick him out of the money and have him hand it over to them. He's like, you're kidding. I said, no, they actually tried it. Trying to extort money out of the FBI. I said, I said, the FBI, the federal government, going in there with hypnotic drugs and told to say stuff. I said, I guess those idiots were in there telling them that they had been trying to have me killed because Strange called me a faker. He went, you're kidding. I said, no. And they were having me drugged, and they had fake sodium pentothal reports. And they were having me beat on and everything else. They had the photoshopping, washing, and some idiot pretending to be a dirty doctor and thought that agent would open a case and hand them the money. And that's where I said that Michelle, that Dixie knew. That was dating Dave that showed up with Judge Peter's group from Florida at Faith Family Church, announcing herself. I didn't even know she existed till 19. Admitted September 30th, 25, that this whole thing was her family's debt to drug dealers. They were all helping her pay it off. I said, where Anita and Pam said Mary's niece, Michelle, was willing to kill someone just to date Dave. An opportunity to date him. Dave was excited because he never had anybody willing to kill him. Kill just to date him. He never had anybody willing to kill someone just to date him. He was excited. And that poor family needs his help. It was their family's debt to drug dealers. And where January 1926, that Henry Maffei, how he's the one inciting Rick and all this other stuff to do all this to Carl. And he's the one behind the Dave Swift war and And I said, and the way he is actually the one supposed to be frame and loaded because he has a judge's friend that'll enter in court without anybody and pull fast one on the FBI and steal the case's money. His own confession. And he never met me before in person. See, that's where if you put the September 30th, 25, that hurts her family doing this. And then Henry Maffei saying he's doing it, that's her dad. And then if you put what Anita and Pam were talking, it's just Katie's family's member, Michelle, and that's her dad. And where Tim was dating Katie and Dave was dating her family member. They just estranged the government. They ran a drug scam on the government thinking they could steal money from them. They didn't even try a mom and pop shop. They thought the FBI would fall for photoshopping and washing and hypnotic drugs and told us say stuff and a fake doctor breaking HIPAA. He's like, you're kidding. I said, no. I said, do you know what that agent heard? When they said sodium pentothal report? Drug dealer. What did he want? The drug connection. Where on earth are you getting that drug? And here it is. You can't get sodium pentothal. They were using hypnotic drugs and told us and I said, my friend Walter used to work at the Stark County Prosecutor's Office. He said it's a big fraud scheme. It's a Fourth Amendment. Police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life with statements with a court order. Even the FBI go to jail for being in your home. It's a right to privacy. It's illegal to look and listen. Criminal attorney told me that in the police. Even the FBI go to jail. Nobody can be in your home but protected custody cases with statements and a court order. Okay? I told him where Walter said that, where they're laughing at you in front of people's stores, they photoshopped that shower scene in the other room. They probably did. It's clicking and pasting where you had all the signs of being drugged and beaten, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Somebody was hurting you, Karen. He said, even though nobody thought of somebody hurting you, somebody was. And we all know you're sleepwalking with those day rape drugs. Where they laugh at you, they drugged you and told you to say it before. Somebody was hurting you. They probably did. You never seen or talked to anybody. It's a big fraud scheme. Okay? And I told Danny, I said, it got so bad up there. I said, your dad even looked at me and said, Karen, you don't realize you die of my choosing. I said he even threatened to kill everything I loved in life. He threatened to kill everyone. I thought over my dead body, will you kill our children? I said I went around taping my own witnesses. And one investigator with a doctor that was back in 18 was laughing with her in a room and said that she's actually funny. And she's really funny. We're still here. She's running around taping her own witnesses. And we're still here. And I told him that. He giggled. I said, I said, I knew they were still there. And they were still recording everything. But I figured more evidence. If they ended up killing me, at least they got caught, but nobody else would get hurt. And I couldn't allow him to ever kill any of you. And I needed him stopped. But yeah. I told him, I said, you don't realize who all, he said, who told you again that they were in that office? I said, an FBI agent on a recorded line. That he met with that family in my office that lost their kid in that traffic accident. And all those church people. And I know they're trying to kill you. And he was trying to say, because you were faking you were sick. He went, you're kidding. I said, no. I said, strangers lie to cover up him thinking that I was following Tim and Katie. He made it up real quick to get rid of me because he thought I was following him. That's why he took you. That's why he did that. Because he had to get rid of me real quick. That's why 2003 happened. But these people had made up a lie that my kids went in there and called me a faker. My kids didn't go in there. They didn't know. See, it's coming down to that. They didn't know. These people have impersonated my children. They didn't know. See, that's where a lot of people today, her kids never did verify she was a faker. No, they weren't part of it. Like Danny verified, he knew I had degenerative joint disease. He knew I had a tear in my knee from falling. He knew there was fluid under my knees. He knew there was a fluid-filled cyst in the other one. And fluid built up on him, and that's why they put me in braces and canes. Till my legs got strong enough to walk on them. So, these people are trying to get Agent John's case thrown out against the cartel. They have announced it several places. 22, they said they were going to have the whole case thrown out. They were going to try to get that agent arrested off this. 19, they were looking for legal loopholes. Last year, they said they were coming for him. The June 4th, 25, outside my apartment in Louisville, they wanted him to show up and explain himself. For those drug dealers being arrested. Then last year, they announced that they were going to get the case thrown out. They wanted every drug dealer released. And they were going to sue the government for an endless amount of money. And for arresting him under fraud. He was defrauding her the whole time. He told on her for calling the FBI before he spoke to her, admitted on a recorded line, bullied her, made her beg for life, listed her informant with money and immunity, then threatened her. Then he left her there and took her money. He was defrauding her the whole time. You can't use fraud. He had no legal right around her. See, that's where these people had no legal right around me. Get the idea? They had no right around me. It's right on Google. If an attorney sets up body cameras in your home, they are to be disbarred and criminally charged for voyeurism, cyberstalking, illegal monitoring, felony invasion of privacy, wiretapping, and then on and on. Just for the cameras. Body cameras, stalking. It's a big federal crime. There's no such thing as special permission. It's the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution, and Police and agencies can only be in a home under threat of life with statements in a court order. There's nothing else. You have a right to privacy, a right to remain quiet, a right to an attorney. Get the idea. Not even the FBI can be in your home outside to protect a custody case with statements in a court order. Police and agencies only. Not some rapist. All right, so let's see. That's where these people tell you they have the right to do all this. They don't have a right at all. I want you to think about that. Went over it with Danny. Just like a freedom of speech. Only a judge in a jury trial can put a gag order on you. It's freedom of speech. No one can tell you can't say anything but a judge. Agents are only police officers. They don't even have the authority. And then it's a federal crime of blackmail, extortion, tampering with a witness, tampering with evidence, and then it's extortion out of government funds. Just like they can't take your money and pass it out. That's theft out of government funds, crime against the U.S. government. Blackmail, tampering with a witness, obstruction of justice. These are 20 to life. Oh, and where they lie to people, they have a court order from a judge. If she says anything, that no one can help her. He signed it. And that they could have her money and no one can help her again because she's told on them that they were doing stuff to her. I put, what is a jail sentence? 20 to up to life in federal prison for the judge and the agent and everybody else involved. Judges are not immune from criminal charges. They cannot break the law and they cannot abuse their authority. Neither can agents or police officers. It is a federal crime for an FBI agent to run around making fun of anyone. It's stalking and harassing, and it is abuse of authority, and then it's stalking, harassing, and they can lose their pension. They lose their badge. It's like 5 to 7 years. And with being an informant, it's tampering with a witness. An obstruction to justice is 20 to life. See, that's where they can't do any of this. And no agent or no judge can give anybody special permission to follow people around and harass them for harming them. It's 20 to life. What is a jail sentence for? It's tampering with a witness, obstruction to justice, abuse of authority. It's 20 to life. They can't do anything. Where they can never sign a court order like that. Where a criminal attorney, my friend from the prosecutor's office, please, they can't sign anything like that. They can't even, that agent can't even tell you can't say anything. It can't be in a court order. It's blackmail. It can't be. It's illegal. I looked it up. They're federal crimes. No judge could ever sign it. See, these people are just lying. See, where that agent told Apostolic Church of Barberton he knew I was being drugged, being raped for the case starting. He didn't care because Strange called me a faker. Okay, and he told, 300 people? 500? In our record line, he met all those people, knew in his office. He knew they were trying to kill me, mocking me. It was horrible. All right. Made me beg for my life, listened to me, inform me, then threatened me if I told. Okay. A couple weeks after the case started, I heard Dave outside on the phone that Dixie and the baby being next, they would teach Josh a lesson for let me down there. He cut his hands off so he couldn't work, and they had a list of people that they were going to do this to. I Googled the office where I called the agent back, and he was there. They said he's got a list. I'm working on it. Well, within a few months later, when I called back down, I'm so sorry, Miss Hall. He is no longer with the FBI. We're so sorry for everything. Now, other agents do work my case, but that guy wasn't there. People have acted like he quit the FBI and he's the one helping them. I put, what is the jail sentence for that? Like 20 to life. He cannot quit the FBI and help them. Somebody needs to find out where the Tuscarawas County Courthouse investigators said it was that Will guy that's supposed to be an attorney Dave hired on his own. He can't hire an attorney to drug beat and rape me. It's supposed to just be his girlfriend's dad impersonating. Oh, that's what they said last Saturday in Myers. I don't think that attorney for children is funny. They said it's no attorney. We checked into it. It's just Dave's girlfriend's dad or one of the guys he hired on his own. That's it. They were lying. He said, okay. I forget what I was saying. I mean, this is such crazy crap. These people are so freaking morons. I have a headache. I have a bad headache from them. And, God. But I mean, these people are just stupid. Stupid. That's where, that agent telling Apostolic Church of Barberton, he knew I was being harmed. He didn't care. A minute on a recorded line, he had them all in the office, knew they were trying to kill me, mocking me. Opens the case, and he's acting like a crazy call person. He leaves me there. Then, he didn't pay me. And then I told you a couple weeks later, I heard Dave on the phone, Brittany Dixie and the baby, and then others. Gold, and I called down there, and they said he wasn't there anymore. And, then when I called him months later, we're so sorry, Miss Hall. We're so sorry for everything. Other agents are working the case. Like Walter said, Karen, you don't realize you're in a witness protection program. You don't realize that you're in a threat and attempt to lie case that can never be closed as long as you're alive. The most they can do is put you in another witness protection program, but they have to talk to you first. You're in a threat and attempt to life case. These people try to kill you. They could wait and try to kill you again. The FBI can never drop you. You get the money for risking your life to get the government information, and they owe you. And and he doesn't have the authority to ask anybody to stay quiet. It takes a judge in a jury trial. And he can't blow you into false statements, and he can't tell anybody they can't help you. It's illegal. They're federal crimes. It can't be in a court order, and no judge could sign it. And you'll have to be in a witness protection program the rest of your life and get the money and immunity for the rest of your life for getting the government information they owe you. And I talked to a criminal attorney in the police, and they said the same thing. He opened a case that can't be closed. Now, there's 2 agents out in Belden that remind me of my son, Joshy. I was in there in like February, March of 22. They walked by me. They'll never address to her what those people did to her before. I know, come on. And they walk in the back. I thought you were cops. Undercover police. And they walked in the back. It's like, you're federal agents? And then the guy that looks like the guy from the cooking show, one I call Officer John, white with black hair, dark eyes, black glasses. They would say, John's here to take care of Karen at Walmart. I look over, he says something nice, so I thought that was him. And they talked about the officers working my case, so I thought he was an officer, so I named him. I thought he was Officer John. And last year in March, I got my wedding license, and Stark County Sheriffs were talking. Some guy showed up. She knows him as Officer John. He is not an officer. His name's not John. He's a federal agent. There's other federal agents, but like they said, they run around fixing this. September 10th, 25, they need to find out who was in that Tuscarawas County Courthouse. They need to find out who was talking to my community health on March 9th, 26 and, or I'm sorry, April 9th, 26 and May 8th, 26 to my doctor. And who the hell they give my medical records to? And the other doctor that I went and seen, who's been out there talking to him. This is how not funny it is. It is a drug cartel. Well, see, that's where the Stark County Sheriffs were saying, where she knows him as Officer John. He's not an officer. His name's not John. He's a federal agent. He said it's drug dealers doing this to her. Tell everybody not to say a word. That was a federal agent. See, all the federal agents are runoffs and stuff. See, that's where, why would the FBI make fun of me? I was drug, beat, raped. They can lose their job for that. They can lose their pension. They are trying to get Agent John's case against the cartel thrown out. They already announced they wanted Judge Peters released, all his men, everyone connected to the case under the surveillance. They want the surveillance thrown out. And that all those drug dealers that were arrested because he defrauded her, they're going to sue him for false arrest under fraud and millions of dollars of extorted money out of the government. See, the FBI needs to stand up for me. They need to stand up for that case. And where they won awards at the Drug and Gang Unit in Canton, off my case, they won awards on my suffering. You talk about a kick in the stomach. Now, do they know that agent didn't have enough authority to ask me to stay quiet? Yes. Did they know it was a federal crime of blackmail? Yes. Did they know he told on me to that church? Yes. Did they know on the recorded line that he admitted he already had everybody in their office and he already knew? Yes. Did they know that it was a federal crime for him to even say that I couldn't say anything? Or threats, da-da-da-da-da-da? Yes. Were they to arrest him? Yes. That's where that guy said, I don't find any of this funny. These are federal crimes. And I let the DOJ know. The White House. None of this is funny. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. But yeah, Danny got a lot eye-opening today. Those churches went in and tried to extort money from the government. They went after the drug connections. And they've already got their confession. They were all in there lying to all of them. And he verified, he knew why I couldn't walk. That I had degenerative joint disease. I had a tear in my knee. Also tear in my knee. And fluid buildup underneath it. They had to keep draining. And a cyst in the other one. And massive fluid underneath the other one. And swelling in my legs. He knew why I couldn't walk. Yeah. And like they said, they lied about her kids walking in that office and saying she's nothing but a faker. The kids weren't part of it. See, that's where they've lied on John. John told the FBI in 2018 nothing bad ever happened to him. Totally defended me on November Thanksgiving of 2018. That no one could ever say anything bad about me. It'd just be made up because of the divorce. Melissa have the kids and the church people make up something, but nobody can say anything bad about you. Asked me to be a reliable name on a court record to watch his kids years later. I was working 2 jobs and I couldn't help him. And July 26, 25 for a federal agent came in and said in 18 that he verified with John nothing bad ever happened to him. And then June 7th, 25, they even verified with the kid's pediatrician that he's seen him several times a year for 18 years. And there was no sign of any abuse, no neglect. And they were well taken care of. Wasn't part of it. Neither was Josh. Danny and Jen didn't know about the shower scene. They didn't report it. Nor will they have anything to do with it. Get the idea? These people are just running around lying. That's all they're doing is lying. For everything's a lie. For everything's a scam. You know, I go up into Akron. We all know Karen's Well is still open. It's part of the nationwide human trafficking scam. Like they talked down in Carrollton in March. They looked her up. Her case was originally a threat and attempt to lie case. And who would have thought big drug dealers got arrested off of it? And they said that they really did. And no one's allowed to say a word to her. Now, what kind of law enforcement would make fun of a federal agent and try to help get a drug cartel case thrown out and drug dealers released? That'll get your life in federal. But you need to find out, Officer Mark, Officer John, you do need to find out if that agent that was no longer with the FBI the first year of the case, within the first few months, if it's him where they said that he quit the FBI and joined them, he's probably the one selling the government technology. He's the one trying to steal my money with them. And you need to have them take care of him. Because if he's not deep undercover to trick them to get everything, this isn't, oh my God. Like people said, we all found out it may be an agent that quit the FBI or got fired within the first few months that told on her. And it may be him helping them. He's not been, like they said, he's no longer with the FBI. He's no longer an agent. Well, that was the beginning of 19. But other agents have been working my case. U.S. Marshals, sheriffs, local police. It's a drug cartel scam. I seen up on Google, Portage County, now they're stealing cars up there. Not only are they running scams on people, just trying to steal money from them, now they're stealing their cars. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and upload this.